first question, which is on society stroke shared future, and it comes this morning from Anne McReynolds from the MAC. Can the panellists suggest how the arts might play a role in moving society forward to build a shared and better future?
In terms of the arts, it should be not simply that the arts contribute to a shared future, but that the arts are part of a shared future. And that shared future should be based on the principles of equity, diversity and interdependence, which is the Community Relations Council model. So in terms of how arts are delivered, those principles should be embedded in there, and the arts means also a method of exploring issues around some of the issues that have divided us in the past.
I think also in terms of building a shared future directly within Northern Ireland, it's important that we try to challenge traditional notions of identity in this society, and I think what the arts can do is actually very important in that, and actually getting people thinking about where we've come from as a society and where we're seeking to go.
But the cultural model is sound and safe. I think it's a bit more mixed up than that.
Okay, Declan.
I think, just to say that the arts provide a fundamental arena for challenging, questioning, provoking, annoying, asking very fundamental questions about where we are at any one time and where we're going.
It's a safe space for debate, for telling your own story, and for engaging people. So people should keep inviting each other to arts events. And similarly, my experience of the Belfast Mela was very positive as well, and it serves to remind you that this is a multicultural society evolving.
We have had a peace process, we have had a political process, we need to have a prosperity process. Clearly the arts plays a massive role, arts and culture play a massive role in promoting and selling, in moving our society forward. And it is, I cannot imagine a better platform for us to express ourselves and tell our story.
The MAC and venues like the MAC is predicated on the idea that coming together and exploring issues together in a space which is outside the normal geographical and territorial, either internally in a mental sense or in terms of streets, is a valuable process. And we need to do it with support from you and with you.
There's a difference between, I think, reinforcing differences and actually driving an agenda of that generosity of spirit and that sharing. And I think perhaps if we're to look forward and to embrace that sense of generosity, we really have to drive that space which the arts actually provides us.
Because that, in a way, is at the nub of this building of a shared and better future. If one society feels that the arts is being paraded to celebrate or commemorate something that they don't agree with, how do you, as an arts practitioner, answer that very difficult question?
And therefore, it's not a question that the arts sector puts its hand out in relation to a funding cycle every now and then, but about striking a bargain between you and the politicians, the decision makers within the body politic. And that relationship is the new deal that I'm really arguing for, that we should be considering, we should be putting in place. And it's based on that principle of a shared objective about the well-being of society, of individuals and communities within that society. And I would argue that picks up what has always been the necessity for the arts to have a place in society. It has always had a place about those sorts of values, about the well-being of society, individuals and communities within that. We shouldn't pretend that we in the arts sector live in an innocent space. The arts are not automatically good. They have to be made good. The art that was produced in Nazi Germany between 1933 and 1945, would we say that they were good things? So it takes a conscious act to make sure that the arts live up to their responsibilities, and the arts sector has a responsibility, I think, which we often separate out, the economy over here and the arts here, and there's been this big effort to somehow show that the arts actually do deliver economically and so forth, as if those are inimical spaces in some way. And I think we need to shift thinking and language and think about an arts ecology, which emphasises interdependency, which emphasises exchange and dialogue within the art space. And there's a horizontal field of activity rather than a vertical stack. It's not about people being equipped to climb the ladder of the arts to some destination. It's about a horizontal field out of which people will create their own forms of communication and practice around that. And that will have a huge bearing then on the nature of the society. So I'm arguing against a top-down approach where we know what the destination is for shared futures, and we have the forms already in mind, and if only people would wise up and get to that point, as if we're the culture holders for the society. We're not. There's a lot of talk, certainly I'm very tuned into it in terms of the Republic, about recovery, as if the model that is broken is worth recovering. We should be talking about invention and imagination, and this is where the arts and education are actually crucially important to the future that we want to build, that we should want to build. We should be inventing our way out of a recession.
How do you feel that humanities and arts contribute to? I mean, I suppose we're also looking at it contributing to the development of one's personality, community and society. Nelson?
People are more comfortable and find it easier to engage with other communities if they understand themselves and their own community. When people are culturally confident, when they have the self-confidence to engage with others, it makes it much easier.
I think the arts can play an enormously positive role in trying, in some respects, to challenge a lot of the conventional wisdom and myth that's built up around a lot of events on the island, but also trying to put in place some type of new shared framework in which we can actually begin to understand these type of events in a different way. So this coming decade could be a hugely exciting period. And of course there's huge international interest in the history of Ireland as well, and that could be considerable economic spin-offs from this too.
Question that the arts can be a very powerful tool in communities for community cohesion and the kind of internal critique in a society that always needs to go on. But don't think it's necessarily all artistic activity is necessarily pure and doesn't itself need challenge, because there are many instances where the arts will be prostituted and used for fundamentally unsound ways. Remember Yeats talking about, did words of mine send out young men to shoot, and so on.
My own personal experience is that I wouldn't have found myself in various places unless I had been invited to attend or participate in an arts-related event. My one and only journey to the Shankill Road was to view a play in the Spectrum Centre. It was made feel very welcome, and I realised, my own personal experience, that there is tremendous artistic talent among the people of the Shankill Road. How would I know if I wasn't invited or if I didn't find my way there?
We have to be confident, allow people to tell their story in their way and to receive it graciously and to be open to other ideas. And so it is a balance.
One of the processes in the UK City of Culture in Derry-Londonderry is to issue an invitation to people to join what will be a transformation process, which is intended as a transformation. Now, the soundbite we're using is from edge to centre. The idea of transforming the cultural edge, whether it's a community of interest or a community of place, to a cultural centre, an empowered and participatory cultural centre. And what we're saying is that that's directed initially at citizens, but it is also of interest to visitors, because one of the things that was talked about, but I haven't heard it referred to since, was a tourism workshop in Derry in 2002, I think it was, where the argument was that insights rather than sightseeing would be the future of tourism. And there's no better place on the planet, I would argue, in terms of richness of insight and learning to be explored and participated in. So it's deliberate tourism we're talking about, not casual tourism.